Aaron.
Here.
Why didn't you say it the first time I said Aaron?
Because it's pronounced Aaron.
You done messed up, Aaron.
Aaron is here. Welcome back, everybody, for more SPTV, where every day's a great day not to be in a cult. Okay, guys, a little bit more on the internet's most notorious Scientology troll, Zero Dark Tony, known as Antony D'Amato Jr., not to be confused with an actual singer named Antony D'Amato. I found the singer Antony D'Amato's videos as I was trying to prepare a thumbnail for this video, and I was like, is this what Zero Dark Tony used to look like when he was younger? I was like, no, this is a totally different guy. Okay, I was reminded. Do you guys remember this past February, February 2025, when I was out in LA and I had the pleasure of confronting Zero Dark Tony after one of his court appearances, and I followed him like a paparazzi as he left the courtroom. Do you guys remember that? Oh, good times, guys. Good times. I remember the first time in the courthouse when I ran into Zero Dark Tony in the hallway before he walked into the courtroom. And accompanying him was who I now know is his mother. But I did not know it was his mother, because never in a million years did I think a grown-ass 50-year-old man would bring his mommy to court with him. I thought it was like his lawyer. I literally thought he was walking down the hallway with his lawyer and that she was like an older lawyer. He was like helping her walk a little bit. I was like, oh, he's got a nice, sweet, sympathetic lawyer. No, it was his mom. So I didn't quite know until I was somewhat chasing Tony around the courthouse that it was his mother who was with him. In any event, I was reminded that when I confronted him outside the courthouse, I said to him, how does it feel to have the judge say that if you mention Solomon's name one more time, she's issuing a warrant for your arrest and setting your bail at $500,000? I forgot the judge had ever said that. I forgot that I ever confronted Tony with the judge having said that. And on top of all of this, I did not know that his bail was set for $500,000. When I did my video about this a few days ago, I thought that it was because he didn't show up for his appointment. I thought that everything that was happening was because he once again no-showed to a court appointment. And thanks to Eric Levai, who I'm going to show his Substack article in a moment. Thanks to Eric Levai published what actually is the explanation for why Tony didn't show up for court. The prosecutor had already submitted 2 motions asking for Tony's bail to be basically revoked and increased to $500,000. They were already asking for Tony to go to jail. Tony knew that when he showed up to court, he was going to jail. And not even 86 GOP was going to show up and pony up $50,000 for a $500,000 bail. That is why Tony no-showed. That is why Tony is on the run. That is why the bounty hunters are closing in on Zero Dark Tony. Guys, I wish I could be there. I wish I could be part of the bounty hunter team. I'd put on a wig. I'd put on a dog, the bounty hunter wig. I'd put on like leather. It would be amazing, guys. It'd be like just cameras strapped all over my body. I mean, can we please hope that the bounty hunters get Zero Dark Tony on video, like dragging him out of a dumpster or something? God, we can only hope, you guys. We can only hope. Okay, so just for fun, let me show you the 30-second clip or whatever it is of me. By the way, in this clip, Tony tries to make fun of me for being fat and out of breath. Okay, now in this clip, was I 15 or 20 pounds heavier than I'd like to be? Yes. Is that why I was out of breath? No, guys. I had just sprinted a quarter mile at least around this building because Tony was inside hiding behind the sheriff's deputies. Oh, please protect us from the scary people with cameras. Tony was inside the courtroom hiding like a little coward. And then I saw him through the windows of the building walking out the other side, and I sprinted like a maniac an entire block to intercept Tony. That's why please don't make fun of me, guys. I'm not fat and out of breath in this video. Okay. All right, here we go. Here it is. Here is one of the greatest days of my life, guys. Here it is. Oh, no audio, of course. Judge. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
How did it feel to have the judge call you a child predator?
Nobody called me a child predator, please. No comment. Leave me alone.
Liar.
Shut up.
Did you guys just hear him tell his mother to shut the F up? Watch.
Child predator, please. No comment. Leave me alone.
Liar.
Shut up.
How did it feel to have the judge say
Well, you little out of breath,
that
fat
if you
boy.
say Solomon's name
Out of breath, fat boy.
before March 4th,
Somebody's out of breath, fat boy.
you're going to be arrested and have a $500,000 bail set?
Out of breath, fat boy. No comment.
How did it
He told his mother to shut the F up. And yeah, look, I can be excused for thinking that older woman could be his attorney, right? I mean, especially if they're walking down the hall together. Who's going to assume that a 50-year-old man facing criminal charges for stalking a minor is bringing his mother to court with him? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Okay. So here is Eric Levai's Substack article. Arrest warrant issued for Zero Dark Tony. Antony Robert D'Amato Jr. is wanted for violating the terms of his bail agreement. And then, yeah, so he publishes these articles. Publishes these documents and publishes some screenshots, and he posts links to the documents. So we're going to look at the documents, guys. So what this, I'm going to go, oh, wait. Oh, let me share the actual thing. I'm going to go blank on the actual date of the court appointment that Tony didn't show up to. It was a day or two before Halloween, right? As early as October 6th, the prosecutors were saying, had filed a motion with the court saying that Zero Dark Tony violated the terms of his bond. And I know that Solomon had gotten a restraining order against Tony, but it was in fact also simply the terms of Tony's bond that he was not allowed to mention Solomon's name in any of his videos. And that was back in February, you guys. So on October 6th, the prosecutors sent tons of examples of how Tony was violating the judge's orders. I want to show you guys some of this. I've gone through this comprehensively enough that we can just we're going to skim through a lot of it. Okay, so the first part of this filing is just explaining how the criminal charges came to be in the first place and what led up to the restraining order, and then the arrest, and then all sorts of stuff. And then the section we're going to start with is, everything that happened after Tony was arraigned and the judge ordered him to stop mentioning Solomon. So instead, he started using nicknames like Pop-Tart and Solo Dolo and the juvenile delinquent, or, the person whose name I'm not supposed to say. He figured out all sorts of ways that he thought he was going to be able to get away with. He basically started incessantly harassing not only Solomon, but Solomon's mother, Yelena. Okay. And so the prosecution points out that Tony tries to blame the people in his live chat for being the ones that keep mentioning Solomon, but Tony specifically interacts with them and watches videos where people are talking about Solomon and stuff like this. And then there's all sorts. I mean, I think there's over 30 examples that they include in the attached exhibits of various ways in which Tony violated the judge's orders. Let's see. What's the next section I wanted to actually show you? Yeah, Solo Dolo. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very, very, very bad words. Very bad words. A very strange guy for Scientology to have gotten into bed with. Yeah, he even did a video crapping all over the judge. Very bad decision there. Okay, so they describe all the exhibits that they're submitting, and then we're going to jump forward to the conclusion. So here we go. They want another condition of This is basically that in the event that Tony was able to post a $500,000 bail, because that's what they were asking it to be increased to, they wanted the judge to issue a complete ban on all social media for Tony D'Amato Jr. That's pretty incredible, and they give some arguments for why they should be able to do that. It's not a complete ban on his it's not a complete ban on internet usage. It's just a social, just posting on social media. He can still shop, he can still read, he can still do all sorts of stuff. Okay, so then we're going to go to the conclusion here. Dun, 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 dun. Conclusion. Exhibits F through BB are just some of the defendants' mentions of Solomon and Yelena, whose dates can be verified as occurring after February 24, 2025. There are many other mentions of Solomon and Yelena that may have occurred before or after the court's order. Okay. While the statements before the court's order will be relevant at trial, the purpose of this motion is to modify defendant's bail amount in light of his violation of that court order and his continued harassment of the charged victims in this case over the last 7 months. To that end, the people request that bail be raised to the amount initially requested in February, $500,000. In addition to the court's modification of bail, the people also request that the defendant's access to social media be restricted in the manner described above. That's right. This reminds me again, at the February 24 hearing, it was his arraignment. Tony, Zero Dark Tony, he had already posted bond at the $50,000 amount, which, he put up $5,000 of collateral. And I remember at that hearing, the prosecutors showed up to that hearing saying, Your Honor, we would like his bail increased to $500,000. They were asking for that right then. And the judge basically said, look, I'm not going to do that, but I am going to issue this admonishment to him and issue this restriction to him. And she said to him in the courtroom, to Tony, if you mention Solomon's name one more time, I'm going to issue a warrant for your arrest and raise your bail to $500,000. That's right. This is how unbelievably reckless Tony has been. He's known this was hanging over his head the whole time. Okay. And so the date of this motion that I just read to you, that was October 6th. It was either the 6th or the 8th. It was October 6th. And so let's fast forward. So on October 6th, the prosecutors already asked for that bond to be raised to $500,000. And then by the time they were nearing the hearing, the next scheduled hearing for Tony, they're like, we've got more. We've got even more. And they filed this on October 28th. People's supplement to People's motion to remand defendant, set bail in the amount of $500,000 and add a condition of release. They went back for more. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why Tony decided he would rather skip court, run, hit the road, be a fugitive from the law, and the subject of an upcoming reality show series, Dog the Bounty Hunter, Zero Dark Tony edition, than to show up to court. Because honestly, if he showed up to court and he got arrested, how long is he going to be in jail? I mean, is it months? Is it months? I've totally stopped following Tony's cases. I have no idea what's been taking so long for this thing to go to trial. But if he were to be put into custody today, he's staying in jail until his trial. And he's going to be found guilty, right? So he's going back to jail anyway. So as of right now, Tony is on the run, but is he only being charged with misdemeanors? This is how little attention I've been paying to Tony's cases. If he's on the run right now for just misdemeanors, then the bounty hunters are going to be the only ones searching for him. I don't think that, I don't think the local cops are going to be, I don't think Nevada is going to be extraditing anyone to California over misdemeanors. I mean, that's my opinion. I don't know for sure. Maybe you experts can let me know in the chat or in the comments. But at what point does all of this become elevated to the level of some sort of a felony? That's kind of my question. Because once it gets elevated to that level, no matter where he gets caught in the U.S., he's going to be extradited back to California. I mean, guys, when I was in the clink recently, when I was being booked in the Pinellas County Jail for what we now call the Smurfing incident, there was one of the buddies that I made in my short time in jail was a guy who He was from the Clearwater area, but he also grew up in Germany. And so anyway, he was there was a warrant out for his arrest. It was a felony. There was it was a warrant out for his arrest for some felony charge here in Clearwater, Florida. And he was flying back to Clearwater from Germany via JFK. Okay. The Clearwater authorities, the Pinellas County sheriffs, or whoever it is that's responsible for going to catch people that are wanted, they could see that this guy was flying back to Tampa International via JFK. They could have just waited for him to come back to the Tampa airport, picked him up there. And they're like, hell no, we're not taking any chances. They drove up to New York to JFK to pick this guy up at JFK airport and drove him back down. We're not talking about a murder charge here or anything. You know, it was some sort of a grand theft type deal. It was like, it wasn't even a violent crime. And they drove from Florida to New York and back to Florida just to make sure that they were going to get this guy. I feel like Tony D'Amato will end up getting that same type of treatment if whatever he's in trouble for here gets elevated to a felony. Okay, so let's see when the prosecutors went back for a second bite at this. Let's see what they had to say. All right, they go. The people of the state of California already submitted a motion to remand defendant and set bail in the amount of $500,000 and impose a condition of release should defendant pay his bail. Now the people submit the following supplemental motion in support of this motion to alert the court to allegations unknown to the people at the last court date. Okay, new information and new exhibits. Okay, CC through 00 are included. Guys, some of this stuff is really vulgar, by the way. And even if I don't say it out loud, you'll see the words on the page. So trigger warning, as the kids say. All right, let's see. Yes, examples of him inciting violence on the internet, calling for someone to have their feet tied behind a truck so they can be dragged down the road, calling for basically someone to be essentially killed and sexually assaulted. I mean, this is literally the kind of stuff that Zero Dark Tony regularly says in his live streams about people. Okay, threatening to assault one of his accusers, describing in detail how he would assault and maim one of his accusers, citing his 18 years of martial arts experience. Guys, is Tony a black belt in karate? I did not know this. I mean, I did not realize he was so dangerous. All right, what else do we got? Oh, yes, making jokes about taking out people with a sniper rifle. Amazing. Okay, once again, making reference to Solomon, calling him Solo and pretending to be Solomon, begging Tony for mercy as Tony assaults him. I mean, guys, this guy is sick. This guy is deeply mentally ill. Referring to Solomon again as Pop-Tart. Wow. Okay. Wow. Look at this. Talking about someone else. I don't know who this Clea person is that he's talking about, but a video of Tony streaming himself riding his motorcycle, describing that if he is sent to jail for these allegations, he will have nothing left to lose when he gets out and will snap and will come for Clea and others. Interesting. All righty. Describing that if he had a plantation, that all of his accusers would be picking his cotton on his plantation, and he would whip them and force them to call themselves humiliating names. I mean, this guy is really disturbed. I mean, yeah, this guy belongs in jail. This guy is a menace to society. Okay, so the prosecutors say in conclusion, as described in the previous motion, the purpose of this motion is to modify Tony's bail amount in light of his violation of the court's order made by Judge Armendariz at arraignment and his continued harassment of the charged victims and other individuals related to this case over the last 8 months. The exhibits provided in the supplement serve as further examples that defendant Tony has been flagrantly and publicly violating court orders while out on bond. Especially telling is the continued violations even after this court held a hearing to address the issue, which was continued to October 29th. Got it. To that end, the people again requested the defendant's bond be forfeited and he be remanded immediately, and that bail be raised to $500,000, and that defendant's access to social media be restricted in the manner described in the original motion. Absolutely incredible. Okay, so other than the fact that Tony is on the run, it now makes more sense why he has gone silent on his socials and on YouTube. I just figured it was because he was on the run, but I didn't actually realize that there had already been so much effort to get the judge to order him to not be on social media. And actually, I'm surprised that at least to the best of my knowledge, the judge actually hasn't approved that portion of their request. But I'm going to say that that's because they actually haven't had a hearing on the motion. And so, a warrant was issued for his arrest because he didn't show up to court. So I see, it's all making sense now. It's all making sense. So when the bounty hunter finds him, he will be arrested. His bail will be set at $500,000. He will then have a hearing on this motion. And then even if somehow he bails out, the judge will almost certainly issue a social media ban for him. This guy's really screwed. And it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Couldn't happen to a more deserving guy. Absolutely incredible. It makes more sense, guys. It makes more sense. Thank you, Eric Levai, for publishing these things. All right, let's look at the starred comments, and we'll call it a night. CO Bill says, every day is a great day not to be Antony D'Amato Jr. Absolutely. Renegan, didn't you get hit by his mom? Yeah, she actually whacked me with her cane. And I should have called the police, but honestly, do I need to send a 70-year-old woman to jail? Not really. Not only did his mom whack me with the police, guys, I mean, old people with canes are an absolute menace around me. I'm like a magnet for just getting whacked with canes. What was the other guy's name? Oh, I forget. Not only did she whack me, but then she ran into the courthouse and tried to tell one of the deputies that I had hit her. This is the craziest thing ever. That's how you know Tony's mom is just as much of a degenerate lying criminal as he is. Two peas in a pod. Also, I think what's interesting is that I heard someone tell a story recently of someone trying to serve Tony D'Amato with something, and whoever was trying to do the service showed up at a house that turned out to be his mom's house. And you're like, yeah, he lives with his mom. How did the person executing service not know that? Tony has no way to support himself. He does not live on his own. He lives with mommy. So anyway, anyone trying to serve no one's going to have to serve him now. He's going to be in the state's custody soon. Marilyn says, bad boys. Oh, what you going to do? All right, CO Belf, has anyone ordered copies of Tony's mom's creepy children's books? I'm very curious. Oh my God, she's got children's books? That's unbelievable. Dorky McDorkpants, this piece of trash deserves everything he gets. Marilyn, I had a feeling his mom had money. If he did go to Berkshire boarding school, like he says, it's exclusive and expensive. Marilyn, I guess I just get conflicting information on this. I'm told that he and his mother live in Section 8 housing. Maybe she used to have money and then lost it. Anything's possible. Old Frizz, you really shocked him that day in LA, Aaron. He definitely wasn't expecting you, was he? No. Glennis Randy, I remember seeing this and him dragging his poor mom around the block. That's right. It was confusing. How did he not remember where he parked? I mean, they actually walked around the block it was really weird. Neither one of them seemed to have any idea where their car was. The Hef says he's going to be out of breath when Bubba comes to visit. Oh, yikes. Canadian girl, how tall do you think that man is? He's definitely about 5'6", 5'5", 5'6". HM, I hope Zero Dark Tony ends up sharing a cell with Danny Masterson. I'm sure Danny is lonely and wants some loving. Yes. Linda Scott, I love karma. It always comes for you sooner or later. Renee L, I do not understand why he wanted to go after a child like this. Tony has serious issues. Does a child threaten him that much? I know, right? Just asking for trouble. Cult of Scientology. Tony sleeps on a $5,000 mattress, so I don't understand why he hasn't come up with a measly $50,000. This seems to be in reference to something that I don't know. Does he really sleep on a $5,000 mattress? I mean, I don't know. Sharon Thibodeau. Tony goes after a minor and thinks he can bully a minor and not suffer the consequences. What a loser Tony is. Old Frizz. I genuinely think Zero Dark Tony is not well. Sitting indoors, sucking on a bong 24/7, spewing bile and venom. Also, doesn't Marisa say he has a brain injury? I do think he has some sort of a traumatic brain injury. Dorky McDorkpants. Tony thought he could punch down, but didn't realize Solomon's mom would punch back. He effed around and he found out. Abigail Siwanat gifted 5 channel memberships. Thank you so much, Abigail. Dantes. Henry said they are issuing more charges. If true, I don't think we'll know until he's arrested, whether felony or misdemeanors. I am Rob. Don't drop the soap, Tony. Ouch. Farrell Cheryl. We need to all show up dressed as Smurfs. You mean to the trial? Yes. Oh boy. Yes. And actually, you guys know what's his name? John Gaffney. John Gaffney will not be appearing at the trial in person. He's already filed the paperwork to appear remotely through a video connection. So if everyone showed up in Smurf outfits or whatever, he couldn't even claim to like be insulted or whatever because he won't be able to see anyone who's in the courtroom. What is best in life? Oh boy, here it comes. Mr. Jailbird telling his when I was in the joint war stories, when I was locked up, when I was doing hard time. I almost did 12 hours in the penitentiary. No, penitentiary is prison, right? I was only in jail. All right. Still sassy. In California, there is not a magic number on misdemeanors to become felonies unless they have a history of violence, which Tony does. Domestic violence. Yes, that's a good point. Dantes, having a bench warrant with a $500,000 bond is a very serious situation, regardless of whether the underlying charges are currently classified as misdemeanors. They are definitely taking this seriously for good reason. Yes, absolutely. Old Frizz, do you think he'll end up in a psychiatric hospital? You know, I mean, it's actually a pretty good guess that he will try to do something that will allow him to try to eventually plead some form of insanity. But do you imagine pleading insanity for misdemeanors? Do they even let you plead insanity for misdemeanors? Rochelle says, Solomon is so brave. I'm so proud of him for taking action and standing up for himself and his family. Sharon Thibodeau, I'm sure when Tony is in prison, he will F around and find out just how much he will become someone's bitch. Okay, shooting the bits. Scientology. Oh my God. Okay, I guess that was automatic because it's a super chat. I never read them first before I bring them up, you guys. I should read them first before I bring them up. All right, everyone. That's all I have on this, and that'll be it for me tonight. I hope everyone had a great weekend. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you guys tomorrow.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not,